Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. May I have your attention? We are ready to begin our program. My name is Patrick Bannon. I'm president of the Bellevue Downtown Association, and on behalf of our board and staff, thank you for attending this special program. And on what seems to be so far a dry April 25th, we'll see what happens later in the day, but we're hopeful for good things. First off, I'd like to say thank you to our sponsors for our BDA Breakfast Series. They are the Fortin Group, Puget Sound Bank, and Kaiser Permanente. Please join me in thanking them. Elected officials here this morning, other than our special presenters this morning, are King County Councilmember Claudia Balducci, City Council Member Lynn Robinson, City of Medina Mayor Alex Morcos, and on behalf of Congressman Adam Smith, Deborah Intiman. Before we begin our program, I would like to remind you of a couple of upcoming events. One would be the Bellevue Jazz and Blues Festival, which the Bellevue Downtown Association produces each year. It is coming up May 31st through June 4th. Tickets are on sale. It is a community-wide event with more than 40 concerts throughout downtown Bellevue, and then 2 headline performances that are ticketed at Maidenbauer Center with Catherine Russell, who is a premier vocalist, and the Corey Harris Band. Those are evening performances, and we also have 2 performances at Bake's Place. So if you're interested in live music out and about in downtown Bellevue and being a part of a very strong civic tradition, please check out BellevueDowntown.com and purchase your tickets. Second, want to just make a note for your calendar that in the fall, the BDA will be going on a study tour to the city of Nashville, to downtown Nashville, October 4th through 6th. Registration is open for the Nashville study tour. Those details are at BellevueDowntown.org, or you can email me or anyone on the team and we'll get more information. I encourage you to sign up early and take advantage of the airline flight reservation options that are available to you right now before they get booked up. So, as you know, the Bellevue Downtown Association is a member-powered, board-governed organization. Thank you so much for your support of this organization as we continue to grow and do good work right along with the city of Bellevue. We are in a very good position as a community as we look forward, embracing opportunities and meeting challenges. And I'm particularly grateful for the board that supports the organization. And here to introduce our speakers this morning is our 2017 board chair, Government Affairs Director for Microsoft, Irene Plenifish.
Well, thank you, Patrick, and good morning, everyone. I think we can all agree that we're experiencing an amazing time here in the city of Bellevue. We're seeing the results of an incredible building boom that is bringing fresh energy and economic vitality to the city. As the Seattle Times just told us, the downtown area is the fastest growing residential area in the city, and it's increasingly livable and attracting high caliber talent and companies. And as the heart of the East Side, Bellevue as a whole is welcoming residents from around the world every day. Throughout this time, our city leaders are working to support growth with initiatives to ensure safety, vibrancy, and to build vital infrastructure. So it seems like everything is moving in the same and the right direction. Of course, Bellevue shares some challenges that other growing cities are experiencing, like increasing traffic congestion and rising home prices. And yet Bellevue is fortunate to have fewer challenges than some other cities that are experiencing this sort of rapid growth. However, we must still look honestly at the city's future, understand where we are, and ask important questions about where we'd like to be 20 to 30 years from now. So I'm pleased to have the honor of welcoming, with their presentation entitled Bellevue, Living for Today, Ready for Tomorrow, Mayor John Stokes and Deputy Mayor John Chelminiak. Please join me in showing them a warm welcome. Thank you.
Well, good morning. It is really a great day and morning to be in Bellevue as we bring you the state of the 2017 State of the City. And really, to get us started and get us jazzed up, we have a little video about our city in the park. Isn't that amazing? I moved here in 1991. Doesn't look anything like that anymore. That is really exciting. We want to get people out in the community excited about this also. So let's use hashtags. We have one is hashtag What's in Your City, and the other is hashtag BVUE on social media. So if you want to tweet out to friends and all, use these hashtags and spread the story. We've had introduction of our council members and other visitors here. I also want to recognize someone very important to Bellevue and what we're doing, important to the east side, and that's Peter Rogoff, the Director of Sound Transit. Peter, thank you very much. As you know, we've had a long-standing relationship with them, and in many ways it's been very invigorating and educational, and we're getting stuff done, and that's what's great. And Peter has been a really great addition, taking over for Joni Earl, and so we're looking forward. We got the tunnel going, and we'll be running on the rails pretty soon. Also here this morning, I want to recognize the person that leads the group that this stuff wouldn't happen without, and that's Brad Miyake. Brad, why don't you stand up? We just have a really fantastic staff and leadership in the city. And through their tireless efforts, we have a well-managed city and a balanced $1.5 billion biennial budget, providing high-quality services to our community. Here in Bellevue, we're living for today, but we're ready for tomorrow. One of the things that makes this possible is that we are a great city that values diversity. We're a community that cares about others, no matter where they're originally from, especially in times of need. I was reminded about this early one morning on Saturday, January 24th, very early. Got a call from Brad. He was already down there when tragedy struck the Islamic Center of the East Side. Bellevue's only mosque was damaged by suspicious fire that brought flames and heavy smoke with it. But out of the ashes came our community's commitment to inclusion and neighborly goodwill. We stood with our Muslim brothers and sisters as they began to comprehend the fire's impact on their place of worship. I want to take a moment to compliment both our fire department and our police departments. They were just outstanding. Chief Mark Risen's here. Where's Mark? There we go. They were there in 2 minutes and knocking down the fire. The firefighters are just amazing. And they got in there and they went in the building and saved many holy relics and books and did a fantastic job. And our police department arrested the arson suspect within minutes and calmed immediate fears about this awful incident being a hate crime, which it was not. The police department came to the scene early, and they came there not as strangers, but as people that had been working together. It's important that we have a strong police force and that they work hard to protect the city, but they also really believe in protect and serve. And because of their contacts with the FBI and the prosecutor's office in Seattle and with the community, we were able to find out right away that it was not the type of incident that would have really, really been bad for us, as bad as it was, and no one was hurt. But he's worked hard to really develop relationships with that community and other diverse communities within our city. So as a result, as I said, when help is needed, community members don't hesitate in contacting the police, and that's very important. That's one of the best ways you can do policing is have the relationships with the community. And that evening during the news conference we had, we joined together with the community and informed the public, which took place earlier in the day, and we thought, okay, that was really great. We had 100 and some people there that night. The next night, on Sunday night, we had over 500 people came to Sammamish High School to listen and to find out how they could help those afflicted by the fire. The city provided space for a few days at the Highland Community Center for prayers, and churches, nonprofits all came forward and started making donations, and that house of worship will rise from the ashes and be better for this. That's one of the many reasons Bellevue is the city where I want to be. The other thing I want to do is really thank our community for stepping up and supporting us on the levy. We haven't done that in a long, long time. We have a very solid, low tax base. We have great resources that help, but there comes a time when we need to reach out to the community and say, if you want to do some really great things, such as making your neighborhoods better and safer, improving your transportation, we need some help in this. So back in November, Bellevue voters overwhelmingly approved 2 levies that will make our neighborhoods safer. The fire facilities levy will fund construction of a new fire station, which we've been talking about for, 15, 20 years. Fire Station 10 that will serve downtown and the surrounding area. And as you know, is downtown growing, and with both the community and the businesses in downtown, we need to have that fire station close by and modern and ready to go. Right now, we're acquiring property for the new location on the west side of 112th Avenue Northeast and Northeast 12th, and it will serve the needs well, and it will be a good neighbor. The levy funds will also go towards seismic retrofits of 9 other stations. Our stations are getting pretty old, and we need to upgrade them, and so we're going to be able to do this because, again, the citizens said, we want to do this. We believe in it. The Neighborhood Safety, Connectivity, and Congestion Levy will work on transportation projects. Our Transportation Commission, I think Todd Woosley's here from the commission, got together and came up with some ideas to move things forward quickly and respond to the community, as we did. We'll have new sidewalks, bike lanes. We're going to really invest in our bike lanes that we've been talking about, and trails. Technology, we're doing great things in technology and transportation, and enhanced maintenance and safety projects. And the one thing that the Transportation Commission helped us work on is coming up with a project for congestion relief on 150th Avenue over in Eastgate at Newport Way. And that will help us a lot, and it gets it started, and it shows the community that we're not just talking about it and we won't sit there with the money for a long time. We're actually getting out and doing things. We're honoring what the voters voted for in November. Now, the other thing that, and we're going to talk a lot about, and John's going to go through a lot of the great projects that we're doing, and what I'm going to put, though, is more a little bit of the framework of the growth. You know, Bellevue is growing fast. As I said before, this is our largest, the neighborhood's now really growing. It's 14,000 people and more coming every day. It's changed in just the blink of an eye. In 2016 alone, we processed in our Development and Services Department more than 15,000 permits, more than 1,400 multifamily dwelling units, 175 new homes on tap for Bellevue. And we have jobs here. During the day, our population grows to be more than 150,000 people. About 95,000 people come in, we have people going out, but it's a net gain of 10,000 people into Bellevue, and more companies are choosing to come here. And I can understand why. You know, we have a clean, safe, and lively downtown with great restaurants and unique shops, something that the Bellevue Downtown Association really helps us promote in terms of the arts. And we have nearly 100 parks. I didn't realize there was that many, but you go and look on the map and count them, they're out there. They're big parks, little parks, they're all over, and we're building more. And we have the talent that's coming in. We're looking to keep the people who are coming here living, working, and playing in Bellevue and enjoying it. On the company front, we've talked about this for some time. We had, you know, sometimes companies leave and companies come here. One of the big exciting things is that Amazon is finally coming here, and you know, we knew it was just a matter of time before Jeff Bezos would return to Bellevue. Of course, you know, he left here from a little garage, and he's coming back with offices at the new Center 425 building, 354,000 square feet worth. Not as big as South Lake Union, but it's a lot of people. The Outdoor Co-op REI, I'm very excited about this, will relocate its headquarters from Kent to the Spring District in 2020. They're coming here because they love the ideas of the Grand Connection. They love the ERC, the East Side Rail Corridor, and the bike trails, and John's going to talk about those in some detail. They come here because of the quality of life. They'll have 1,400 REI employees working out of the headquarters right over in the Spring District, and just a few blocks away from here. And the new campus, it's just going to be huge. It's going to have emphasis on environmental sustainability, outdoor space, and all of that. So it's really great for us. The other is Salesforce from their headquarters in San Francisco, but they wanted to have a major presence on this part of the country, and they came to Bellevue. Their new office opened in January. We had a tour of that. It's just a fantastic office for this software company at the 929 office tower. It brings the indoors in. It's just, if you haven't had a chance to get a guided tour, I'm sure they'd like to bring you there and check that out. The other thing's exciting, and you saw about this the last meeting, a little project called Lincoln Square 2. It's where is Kemper? It's pretty small, right? Right. It's only 1.5 million square feet of mixed-use development. It'll bring more office space, downtown living, a new hotel, the W Bellevue Hotel, and retail, food, and entertainment. Again, a growing piece of the skyline and really connecting, and it's on the Grand Connection, as John will, I'm sure, point out. In effect, the Lincoln Square expansion will greatly expand Bellevue's vibrant downtown scene. And the other exciting thing that's coming, and again, that's going to have a huge impact on us and is attracted because of what Bellevue is today and where we've been going, is the Global Innovation Exchange coming to the Spring District and Bel-Red area. And that's a partnership, as you know, between the University of Washington, China's Tsinghua University, and Microsoft. It will be the first time a Chinese research university has established a physical presence in the United States. And it's happening right here in Bellevue. As Governor Inslee said at the groundbreaking, really wasn't groundbreaking because half the building was coming up, but it was a celebration. Bellevue will be the innovation center of the state, and that is happening. And GIX is going to be a big part of that. We're also working with our regional partners on economic development, and we came up with a great idea that James Henderson, Economic Development Director, has put forth called the Innovation Triangle, a partnership between Bellevue, Kirkland, and Redmond. And we get together and we create more business opportunities and more reasons for companies to come to the East Side. As we know, when people come to the East Side, whether it's here or Kirkland or Redmond, first place they come and shop and play here. But they're our neighbors, and a lot of people work in Bellevue, live in those cities, and having all the cities grow and prosper is important for us. It worked so well, we received an award from the Economic Development Council of Seattle and King County for this. These are just examples of the exciting work that our city council and our great staff have been doing over these last several years, and particularly, I mean, it seems like everything has happened this year. It's just amazing. We're moving forward on these many initiatives. So I've kind of gone over an overview of where we're going and how exciting it is and what we're doing in Bellevue. Now, the Deputy Mayor, John Chelminiak, is going to take us on a tour of all these great projects. And you know, I think we said we had a day and a half to talk or something like that. It's just amazing. And so, John, come on up and tell us about what's going on in Bellevue.
Our staff has put together a terrific presentation here today. They've got a great script for us. The over-under on the deputy mayor going rogue is 2.5 minutes. Those of you who had the under, you're going to win. We are seeing a lot of activity related to development, but also related to Eastlink coming to Bellevue. And I want to talk about something that I think is a remarkable accomplishment that's underway. It's our big dig, if you will. It is the tunnel under downtown Bellevue. My former colleague, Grant Degginger, pulled a group together back in about the 2007-2008 timeframe to say we needed a tunnel in Bellevue. It wasn't funded in the Sound Transit 2 proposal. And we found a way, working with Sound Transit and working with everyone else, to make that tunnel happen. And that dig is underway, and we will see a train going through there within about a 6-year period to begin to serve us with a new rapid transit option for downtown Bellevue and for the 6 stations here in Bellevue that Sound Transit train will serve. That is a remarkable accomplishment for a city. It's going to come with some pain, but you know, my mother always taught me that you had these growth pains, and so we will be going through that. The closure of the South Bellevue Park and Ride, but when it reopens, it will be that much better. And so as we go through all of that, remember that it's all about a vision for tomorrow. And that vision for tomorrow includes something that I think is remarkable. We talked about it with you last year, and it is becoming a reality, and that's the Grand Connection. Connecting our waterfront on one side, Maidenbower Bay, all the way through downtown Bellevue, across the freeway past Wilburton, and up to something new, the East Side Rail Corridor that's going to run from Renton all the way up to Snohomish County. The Grand Connection is really the heart of all of that. And if you think about it, within downtown, on one end, you will have the Bellevue Connection, which is a huge gathering place. It is a great economic engine. It's wonderful for our regional shopping tourism. And at the other end in downtown, Maidenbower Center. That is a business hub for us. That is a place where the world comes to Bellevue for its conferences, and it too drives a tourism revolution here in the city. Speaking of Maidenbower Bay Park, 30 years ago, people had a vision to make this happen, and once again, a lot of people said, could not be done. Has taken a long time to get the all of that land together, but next month we break ground on phase 1 of Maidenbower Bay Park. That is going to be another terrific addition, another place-setting area. It does make Bellevue the place that you want to be. Now, in Downtown Park last year, we saw a lot of teenagers running around. Now, they were doing what teenagers do. Their face was buried in a phone. But at least they were outdoors doing it. They were playing, what was that? Pokemon, I guess it was. Now, we then closed the park. We've been undergoing a renovation. But that is completing the circle. And I am so waiting for the day when I can bring Carrie Bozeman over here and say, done. We got it done, Carrie. He has always chided me whenever I've seen him about when are you going to complete the circle. But it's more than just completing the circle. It was our Bellevue Rotary Club stepping forward, again, something that just happens in Bellevue. The Rotary Club stepped forward, they raised millions of dollars, and we're doing this sensory garden and playground for children with different abilities. That again is going to be an amazing spot for people to gather within this city. And then there is something that is new and is developing rapidly, and that's the East Side Rail Corridor. My goal this year is to find a catchy name for that, because that sure isn't a catchy name. But what it is this connection of a trail. And if you've been up and you've seen the Kirkland Connector, you know what we're talking about. This trail is going to go from Renton, it's going to come all the way through linearly through Bellevue, and eventually connect all the way up to Snohomish County. It's one of the reasons that REI chose the location that it did in the Bel-Red area, is that connection to the trail, because that's a connection to what that company truly believes in. King County is pushing forward with that, and literally we could see people riding that trail in 2020. That, again, it's been a long time coming to get to this point, but it is going to happen in the very near future. I mentioned growing pains. Well, we have issues that we need to deal with in this city. One of those is electrical reliability. We talked a little about this last year with you. Puget Sound Energy is now in the last phases of the second phase of the environmental impact statement. That will be coming out soon. We will see comment on that. And I do anticipate that Puget Sound Energy will be applying for a permit for this in the very near future. This has caused a deep amount of controversy. There are people who say we don't need it, and there are people who say it is critically necessary. In my mind, it's the job of the city to make sure that we have reliable electricity within this city. So we're going to push ahead as a council. We're going to make sure that things are done well for our citizens, but we also need to make sure that we have that reliable electricity. And I was involved in a project called the Electrical Reliability Project. It actually came up with a lot of relatively smaller things that Puget Sound Energy could do. We're pushing ahead with that now. There's actually a number of people in Bridle Trails have asked for a lot of undergrounding there. There's some issues with the state law regarding that, but in fact, there is a circuit that has not been performing well, and Puget Sound Energy has finally, with the city's insistence, taken a look at that, and they're going to underground that particular circuit, which I think, again, is something about the idea of being able to stick to things and make them happen. Transportation has always been the #1 issue on people's minds, but right now, competing with that as a #1 issue is affordable housing. And we had a briefing on how we are going to do that. I want to thank both Councilmember Robinson. Boy, everybody does that, don't they? Councilmember Robinson and Mayor Stokes, who led our effort on affordable housing. We put together a great, really terrific technical advisory committee. We got their report last night. We had a discussion on that. I can tell you that this is an issue that I think as a city we need to step back and we need to challenge the financial assumptions that we have been making for many, many years and decide what is financially the most important. Because at the low end of the income, at 65% and lower of the income, it's going to require subsidy. And the city is going to have to be a part of that. And I think if we are serious about making sure that the people who work here have housing to live here, the people who teach your children in school have the ability to live here so that they're not driving from Puyallup and being dead tired by the time they get to work to teach your child. We need to really think through how we are going to make that happen, because just simply allowing the market to work is not going to handle, especially at the lower end. At the higher end of that, I think the market is going to be able to address issues of affordable housing, and we are going to make sure that happens. We did have a situation last summer. We joined with King County Housing Authority and the state of Washington and others in securing affordable housing and keeping it at Highland Village in East Bellevue. It meant 86 families are able to stay in their home. Low income, probably one of the most touching moments of my career as a city council member was having those families come back to the council meeting and thank us with pictures that the kids had drawn about their home. It was an incredibly touching moment. The problem with it is waiting until the very end to save it is not a sustainable way of doing it. So we've got to come up with another model that will work to be able to sustain affordable housing that is here, and also to be able to create more affordable housing. Livability. I bet the Bellevue Downtown Association is interested in that. When I made my little chart of where we would be, I had us adopting livability in July of this year. Unfortunately, it's probably going to come to the City Council in July of this year. But my pledge is to work through that and make sure that as we make changes to the downtown code, make changes to the how downtown is going to look, that we do it in a way that makes downtown better. It's pretty hard to make downtown better, but that's also the way that we do it in Bellevue, is we look to make great things much better. So that is going to be moving forward very soon. Near and dear to my heart is education. John mentioned GIX. What a terrific possibility that is for the future of our city. But also, it's working with Bellevue College. The college is now going to have its own dormitories. Think of that. You wouldn't have thought of that 25 years ago, that it would even be something like that. But they will be having dormitories there on the college. It's one of the highest attended institutes of higher learning within the state of Washington, and we're working very carefully with them. And what I love is their student group has become engaged in city government. They're at our meetings on a very regular basis. And finally, the education of our younger kids, things like East Side Pathways that's really focusing on making sure our kids are ready for the future, the Bellevue School District, the Issaquah School District, that's making certain that our kids are ready to go to college. I know they've done that with my daughter because I now have a bill that I will begin paying to Gonzaga University for the next 4 years, hopefully for only 4 years. But at the core of what makes us great is the ability to educate the next generation and have them be even greater. So now I want to bring Mayor Stokes back up. He's going to wrap it up, and then we'll both take questions from you. John?
Okay, I think you've seen a good overview of where we're going, what we've been doing in Bellevue, and you know, as we say, it's a piece of cake. We just make these things go and say we're going to do it, and we do them. As John said, you know, we've been working on downtown livability for a long time. We were just having a discussion. He was kind of saying, well, I need to get that planning commission going better. I'm working on that. Brad and I have been talking, I guess since he was assistant city manager, about how can we make this work better. It just should not take 7 years, 3 years, and all to work something through and still be grappling with it after you've had endless meetings and all. And how can we, the goal is to really try to be nimble, to be effective, and move through things in a reasonable way, and at the same time do a thorough job. And you know, if we can pull that magic together, just think what we can do. We're working on it. But I think it takes the city to do that, the people in the city to help us with that. You know, we have this unbelievable growth. It's an amazing time period in Bellevue, and everybody who's been here, you keep running across people who say, well, I've been here 50 years and I don't like the way it's changing. But you see a lot of people who said, I've been here a long time and it's just fantastic. And you have new people coming in. But change is hard. Growth is hard for people. And I think that's the issue that we're facing the most in everything we do, is how do we make good decisions, how do we move things forward, how do we advance them, and how do you engage the community and end up making good decisions in a reasonable time frame. And we're working hard on that. You know, transforming from a suburban city, I don't even like to use the term anymore about this being a suburban city. It's an urban city, it really is. It's the economic and cultural center of the East Side. And with that comes a huge responsibility to really make sure we keep doing things well, that we make sure we're in leadership and continue to be that. And that really takes strong leadership. And the leadership of my fellow council members and all of us working together to address the challenges and opportunities that are before us. You know, being a leader is not just showing up and running the meetings and talking nicely and coming making speeches and out there. Leadership is not easy. You have to be willing to put yourself out there and take the shots, face the critics, and you weigh decisions that will affect future generations. This city council, I think, has really been tremendous in taking on tough issues and being willing to make those decisions. And I'm very proud of our work and proud of the dedication to our task, but we're not finished. We're taking on very challenging issues, including the process of siting a permanent men's shelter. And a lot of you have heard a lot about that. It's it's an issue all over the world, and it's an issue here. And of course, as we know, they're doing things in Seattle, and that's one of the pressures is how do you make it work and have everybody tell you that, well, it doesn't work in Seattle, so you can't do it here. We're not going to be Seattle. We will do it right. The Bellevue Success Way. And that means it's going to be safe, sound, and effective positive changes for those men who are, at this point, drifting. It's something we have to do. It's difficult. It's difficult to do anything in a neighborhood, and we're working hard on that, but we have no option, and there is no option to fail. So we need your support in working through this. It's a long-term issue, and again, just like all the other things that John mentioned with electric reliability, all these factors, these are hard decisions, but it takes working together to make it happen. And as John mentioned, we're also putting together, I'm very proud of this, a action strategy to bring more affordable housing to the city. We're also working on the downtown livability piece. I'm very proud of what we've done in terms of getting the Tadeuchi Center going forward, and that was not an easy battle at all. And we're working with the Bellevue Arts Museum to keep the arts part of the community going. And again, that takes us working together and takes some guts to get out there and say, this is something we need to keep going. This is something we want to happen for the city. And we can only do that, again, when we have support and when people are working with us and telling us, being supportive and helping us as a community provide the leadership. We're working on all the things that John said, electric reliability, preserving green space, to keeping this a city and a park. And one of the things that has, as I said before, has really made a difference is the change in our population. It's different than it was, and how do you make that balance between all the new people coming in, the diversity, people with different interests, people are walking down around downtown at 11 o'clock at night now, and used to be you could drive through Bellevue after 10 o'clock and you didn't see anybody there, except they're all, of course, in Bell Square. Well, Bell Square had closed, I guess, by that time, but anyhow, we have just a huge multicultural population that brings diversity and enriches our city, but it brings challenges in language, access to cultural competency, just getting people active, getting them involved in the community. And we're addressing that with our cultural diversity initiatives and staff and events. And the East Side Pathways, as John mentioned, something that's been very dear to my heart from the beginning. and other partnerships, and being an open and engaged city. So what it all comes down to is that we have a lot of challenges facing us in Bellevue because we are what we are, because we're growing, because we have high aspirations, and because these are not easy issues. And we're faced in a time in this country when we're dealing with difficult issues and people are contentious and where we're going is kind of up in the air. I think that we know where we're going in Bellevue, and that's the important thing. I'm very, very proud to be mayor of this council in this city and working with John and our council members and staff. And I think you can see we have a lot of things going, but what it comes down to is that we have to work together, and that gets down to leadership, and that's to you. And I want to charge you to really continue to be a strong organization of the Bellevue Downtown Association, and for your companies and your other organizations to continue to be engaged and work with us and really make this the true shining city on the east side. We are and will be the cultural and economic center of the east side, and we're going to do that even better. But that means working regionally, working together, working smart, and supporting projects as we go forward. So Bellevue's in a good place. I'm very excited about it. I know we have a lot of work to do this year, and again, thank you for having us here. Thank you for sharing this. I hope that you have gotten a better picture of where we're going in Bellevue and know that we're open, we're working hard to make things happen. Again, but we couldn't do it without you, and I think we're in a great place, so I want to stop at this point and we'll ask some questions, and appreciate very much being here. Thank you. Okay, any questions? Yes, right. Yes.
I'll start it off with, oh, thank you. I have a very loud voice. Do I need this?
I can hear you.
Okay. Ann Bishop and Councilman Lynn Robinson said something very smart to me this morning. She says a lot of smart things, but she reminded me that Bellevue now, instead of having a suburban area, which is has some conflict in the past with urban, we have now brought so many residents downtown that we all have many of the same objectives. And I wanted to talk about something that when a developer begins to look at its project and we're looking at open space, we think of open space as being in the corridors and down below. If we can think of our rooftops as being open space as well, you think of the tops of these buildings, Daniels, for instance. Kemper knows very well the benefit of Daniels and the view. But you bring that view, whether it's a cityscape or that's the lake or the mountains, and if we can look at the tops of the buildings as open space, elevated, and make those more public, whether you use those with water features or outdoor fire pits or places where the community can gather, more than just a 1 or 2 or 3 option, but really open that up so there's some incentive to the developers to add that to FAR or open space or incentive. I think they would be great amenities and give downtown more choice to be up on the top of the buildings and look at our spectacular views that are unbeaten by Chicago, even maybe San Francisco. We have some of the best views in the world. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we did put, we have gardens and plants on the top of our, when we had to redo the garage for the light rail. And we're doing some of those things, and I know I've been to other cities where you can go up on plazas and have that. So it's a great idea. John?
Yeah, I think, actually, as you were speaking, it was bringing some ideas of how this fits into more of a policy level, which is we have kind of 3 criteria of parks. We have neighborhood parks, we have community parks, and then we have more of the larger I would call them a regional park. So they serve different numbers of people. When you think about a neighborhood park, and the number of people who live in a single building or maybe in a couple of buildings that are tied together, that's like the number of people that live in a traditional single-family neighborhood. So that's a really good point about how do we approach that. Patrick Foran, our Parks Director, is here today. So I know he's listening to that. We do think about those ground level or just slightly up above type of plazas, but using the roof as somebody's neighborhood park, that makes an awful lot of sense. Thank you.
Hey, Carl. Yeah, we're working on parking.
Yeah, I got that. Are you sure about that? My question is actually not about parking, surprisingly, but closely related. So talk to us about autonomous vehicles. Does the city have any plans or ideas to maybe be pushing the envelope and on the leading edge of this technology as it's coming on the horizon, kind of like other cities in Arizona and Pittsburgh and so on and so forth? Does Bellevue have an opportunity there?
Glad you asked that question. Yes, absolutely. I'm the chair of the East Side Transportation Partnership and was vice chair last year. And over the last 2 years, and Bellevue is a big part of that, we actually had two transportation innovation conferences. We brought people in, and that was very, very good. But what Bellevue is doing is being a leader in that. We're already in terms of the smart lights and those kind of things and the smart city initiatives, but we are hiring actually a transportation innovation staff person to lead that effort. We are, and our intention is, and we are on the path of being on the cutting edge of that, to use an old tired cliche. And absolutely, one of the things that we're also working on is how do we make this work in a seamless way. Autonomous vehicles are coming. They're not coming tomorrow, but they're coming tomorrow. I mean, it means that it's going to be a long time to transition. And the hardest part for cities and where we're going to have to really work on, the reason we're having someone come in to really lead this effort is in talking to other cities, how do we have seamless transitions from cities? How do we deal with the legal issues? How do we deal with the working together with the systems that are going to take place? So yes, we're very much on top of that. Bellevue is in a position and wants to be, and that's our goal, is to be a leading city in this state on transportation, autonomous vehicles, and how that all fits together. And the gentleman from Lyft Now, getting it mixed up, is it not Lyft Now, but anyhow, Reach Now, yeah. Reach Now talked about how, they supported ST3 because they believe that autonomous vehicles and transportation is all part of a seamless part. And so how do we work the whole piece together? We have the transit, we have all these other things, the BRTs that we're working on, but we're also going to work on the autonomous vehicles. So again, we are doing that, and I'm glad you recognize that and give us a chance to actually mention that to everybody. And John, you want to add to that? Okay. So thanks. Other questions?
The way I'm driving, I'm going to need one.
Gotta be him. Good one. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Just want to thank you for your presentation today. It was very stimulating. And soon, this is more of a statement or an introduction or invitation for dialogue. So soon, Sound Transit will be closing the South Bellevue Park and Ride. The tunnel will get underway, and there will be a lot of mitigation facing us. So I would just suggest that the CD leadership be prepared for a lot of disruption. And I know that you are, but I just feel like it's coming, and it's going to be a long-term process, and we're all in it together. But we really need to, from my perspective, hold Sound Transit accountable and make sure that they live up to their promises, and that we anticipate that it's not going to go smoothly. There's going to be a lot more traffic. There's going to be a lot more inconvenience for shoppers and tenants and employees and the like. So I'm generally an optimistic person, and it's not going to impact my business so much as my customers and my friends and so forth. I've got it easy. I live pretty close to town. So I just want to invite the dialogue further, and the BDA will help us with that, and I know the City Council and the Planning Department and all of the others will help us get through it, but it's just something I wish to see on the agenda going forward.
I thought we were going to get through this without that being raised, right? So Brad spends, he stays up nights working on this, right? John?
Yeah. Well, I agree with you about working together to get through it, and there are going to be, there are going to be upset people. I absolutely understand that. May 1st, coming right around the corner, the Overlake Park and Ride closes, just up north of us, right? Or just north and east of us. May 31st, I believe it is, the end of the month, the South Bellevue Park and Ride closes. So that's going to put a lot of pressure on the other park and rides within the city. And it's going to put pressure on people who are going to what is called hide and ride. They park up in a neighborhood, they walk the quarter mile to a place where they can get on the bus. So we're going to have those challenges, and we're also going to have the challenges that we get when we have a lot of large development. I mean, the last 2 years, the downtown Bellevue development, I know because I take my daughter to school, every day. That commute in the morning to get kids to Bellevue High School has been really very difficult. At the end of it, something really great happens, but so you have to work to get through that. I agree at holding Sound Transit's feet to the fire. I've not been happy with the way the whole park and ride thing has gone. I wish that we could have done something differently, but it just didn't get pulled together. The other thing that's going to happen coming up very soon, and I now serve on the Regional Transit Committee, the downtown Seattle bus tunnel is going to close to buses very soon. So it's going to be those buses that people rely on may very well be very delayed in getting back to the east side to take people in. And there's an initiative that I hate the name of because it's called One Center City. And I think that's very Seattle-centric. But I'm getting over the name of it. And I know that and I know Councilmember Balducci, who chairs the Regional Transit Committee, is convening a group of East Siders to remind them that this is going to be something, that effort in Seattle is also going to affect us on this side of the lake as well. So maybe a long answer to, it could have been worse. Let me put it that way. I do remember the days that we were talking about having Northeast 4th, the intersection there, at least 3 lanes of Northeast 4th closed for days and days and days on end. That's not going to be the situation now because again, and I'll go back to it, former Mayor Degginger pulled these groups together and then we worked with Sound Transit and we came up with, and working with their contractors, the sequential mining of the downtown tunnel, and that made that much better for the surface rather than cut and cover.
Yeah, and Peter's here, and we're working with him, and absolutely, Alex, that's a really important thing for us to work on and remember that. But again, the invitation is to all of you here to work with us and make this happen because, as John said, great things will be there when it's all over, and we'll get there. Want to end it up?
Thank you again, Mayor Stokes and Deputy Mayor Chelminiak, for your words this morning, your words of inspiration, your words of charging us to continue to work together, to collaborate, to address our big challenges, and again, to have that vision for tomorrow, which so importantly informs our work today. And I think that vision for tomorrow was something that we know was set in motion many years past, before my time, before many of our times, by leaders who looked at the potential of Bellevue, decided to work together, private sector, public sector, to really come up with a fantastic plan for a city that in large part has been filled, that vision, and now the challenge in front of us is to, again, work together, public and private sector, collaborate and build toward a great vision for tomorrow. So thank you again for your support again of this important work that we're all doing together. Thank you again to the mayor and deputy mayor. We look forward to many more states of the city moving forward. Our sponsors again this morning are Kaiser Permanente, Puget Sound Bank, and the Fortin Group. We look forward to seeing you at the next BDA breakfast. And until then, we'll keep working on that vision tomorrow. Have a great day.